Shout out, guys, we are back with another one. Today we are going to be looking at 3 of the new cards for Blackblade. Of course, the new cards are the cards because you guys haven't gotten a card demo yet. We're going to be running through the lore for the cards and some of the stat lines and the strategic thinking for the cards. If you haven't seen part 1, you can check it out. It was more of a gameplay video. This is going to flesh out the stories and the lore and the types of strategies that these cards are supposed to fulfill at the end of the day. Okay, so first and foremost, we've got a projection type, and it is Cassius Thorn, the Azure Advisor. So he's got a stat line of 54 speed, he's got 1600 health, he's got 300 damage, all in magic damage, which is quite decent, bro. That's a pretty good damage stat when you're looking at a card. Pretty solid card. And also cloth armor, which is going to give him resistance against magic. But it's also going to get him beat up by piercing and physical. Anyway, he's got an ability called Veil Council, and it says, when I enter the field, grant all allies plus 10 speed for 1 turn. If a general is on the battlefield, that general may use 1 extra item next turn. And to use this ability, of course, he needs a blue magic item. So that's a passive. He comes onto the field and instant impact, which makes him a great card on a deployment. As soon as you deploy him, he gives you instant impact on the field, which is really great. The one caveat is your general. Of course, if your general is deploying a card to the field, that would take the turn of the general that turn. So that's something to think about. But then the very next turn, that general will be able to use an item. And the next turn as well, Protective Insight can be used by Sorien when he uses his first ability. It's got a cooldown of 3, which is very decent. A target ally becomes immune to the next instance of damage. If that unit is a general, add 300 health. So very strong card to help out a general, to protect a general, keep it safe. Also, there might be certain cards that you are afraid of dying, cards that you don't want off the board at a certain period of time. This can keep them safe for 1 turn, so great. So let's read a little bit more about Cassius Thorn. Like I've said, he's a projection type. He is a support character with pretty high damage to him for a support. And he is from the Kingdom of Azurite. He is from the Kingdom of Azurite. Azure Kingdom, I'm not sure if we're going with that. It's Azurite. He is from Celeste Bridge. So let's read through his bio. Cassius Thorn is the chief strategist and advisor to the Azure royal family. Yes, he used to do this for Sorien. He's gifted in projection magic. Cassius blends arcane foresight with logistical prowess. Yes, granting his allies temporal advantages in battle. Though he's not a warrior in a traditional sense, his mind is a battlefield of its own, and he is known for manipulating the flow of war without drawing a single blade. Yes, he was a very good advisor to Sorien, and he somewhat saw Iserin's usurp his coup on the throne coming from a mile away, and he was able to get Aster out of the main capital, the Azure Rock, before things got out of hand, basically. The next play is he went to Celeste Bridge. He tried to get Aster legitimized in Celeste Bridge, where the leader there will speak about her. It happens to be Orina Nocturna, and her henchman, who is the actual leader of Celeste Bridge, called Arian. They denied access to the young prince into Celeste Bridge, meaning he had to travel somewhere else. But yes, the reason why he has ties in Celeste Bridge is because Cassius Thorn was born to a noble house in Celeste Bridge, and he became a master of projection and veil techniques. The Thorns are a traditional magic family. They've been around forever, and they're pretty strong in terms of how they cast blue veil magic. He caught the eyes of Azulite's Grand Council. He rose quickly as a royal tactician and grew close to the Severians. What I'll say is the Thorns and the Severians have always been friends, but I think Sorien was the first person to really solidify a Thorn as an actual advisor. They were one of the advising families, but he took on Cassius as the main advisor. And that means a lot about this character. A very smart character, a very capable as well, and very strategically inclined. Not only a mage, but a mage who can think on the battlefield as well. Or at least rather think politically as well. I think there's a distinction there. Okay, so after the kingdom fell, he vanished. Not quite true. I mean, he disappeared with Aster, and then he tried to pass Aster on. Secretly coordinating the Azure heir's return. His abilities accelerate ally shields generals, making him a battlefield ghost that bends fate to his will. So yes, I've explained this story to AI. It's taken a little bit of liberty rewriting my work. So I'm having to correct it now. But I'm pretty cool. I'm pretty cool with how it summarized it. It got everything pretty much 98% right. There's just the one thing is you know, he vanished. He didn't vanish. He vanished with the prince. They escaped. I think that's a better way to put it. But maybe I'm just being picky. You guys can let me know in the comments. Alright, and I don't want to go over the current status in the timeline. That's a little bit of spoilers, but that's cool. So next up we have Aster the Exiled Prince. Aster the Exiled Prince. So his speed stat is 50. He's got 1100 health. He's got 400 physical damage. Very, very strong. Even though finding the right instance to use it is going to be very interesting. And then of course he wears leather armor. So he has an ability called Fleeting Crown. Once per game, ignore the effects of any attack that would bring Aster below 500 HP. Instead, leave him at 500 HP and inflict dazed on the attacker. Desperate situation. After surviving 5 turns on the field, transform this card Aster into Aster the Azure Prince. Aster the Azure Prince is a card which has around 78 speed. It's got maybe 2400 health. It deals 700 damage physical, and it has plate armor as well, so it's an upgrade on everything. Its first ability is Crown Shatter Waltz, which deals 700 damage to the entire front line of an opponent. And then if it kills something, it deals another 700 to the entire back line. So an absolute exodia card, a absolute sweeper of a card. There's nothing like that card in the game so far, and it is devastating. Its second ability is an ability called King's Blood, which prevents it from suffering from status conditions. So even trying to slow it down in that sense is not possible. The only way to really slow that card down is to take it off the field and win the game. Alright, so Aster the Azure Prince. He's got a Veil type of luck or fortune, and then his main card is a projection type, which was not his father's type, funny enough. Sorien Severian is an amplification type. So very different typing between him and his father. We'll get into that as the story unfolds. Lots of little bits of background in terms of the case of his birth. That's all I'll say on that. Oh man, once you guys start opening it up, it's gonna be really, really spicy. But just know that, you know, Aster's father wasn't even around for his birth, making his birth and his place in the kingdom very interesting. And it raised a lot of questions about, is this the true heir of Celestbridge? You know why? Not of Celestbridge, of the Azure capital. You know, the gold eyes are not helping him. Gold eyes, but you are the blue prince. Interesting. Okay, so Aster is the last surviving heir of the Azure Kingdom, once a fugitive prince. He now walks a path of legend, surviving in the wilderness and becoming a symbol of rebellion. Aster's transformation into the Azure Prince is both literal and prophetic. Yes, that transformation that we see in the cards has not happened yet, which is why I'm so reluctant to show it in terms of showing the actual Azure Prince card and the art for it. But you guys have seen it before if you've watched some of the videos. He is somewhat a little bit of a main character, at least in this region of Azurite, and we've started with it, so we're going to be following his hero's journey primarily. Aster was smuggled out of Azurite as a boy, well, as an adult, after his father, King Sorien, was defeated at Draco Rift. As the exiled prince survived on luck and instinct, he becomes the Azure Prince. There's more to it than that. There's a specific desperate situation that he gets put in, hence why the title of his ability is called Desperate Situation. And his powers become more kingly. He becomes immune to status conditions, crushing through armor and punishing enemies, punishing them with devastating attacks. An absolute mad lad of a card. Then we have Sorien, the Lion of Mistmere. Back in the day when this guy still had his stride, he was called the Lion of Mistmere. He comes from Mistmere. He's not a leader from there, and he's not even part of what you'd consider to be the royal families, but he was by far the greatest fighter that Mistmere has seen while he was in his prime. So that's who we are dealing with here, and his stats truly reflect that. He's got 40 speed, the fall off is real, he's old now. He's got 2,300 health, he does 350, not 3,500 damage. Yo, that would be crazy. He does 350 damage physical, and he wears plate armor. Alright, and if you take a look at his ability, usually what Sorien would have is a more aggressive ability, a more aggressive playstyle. But this is not young Sorien anymore. Nudge, nudge, wink, wink. That's another card we can print, young Sorien. But old Sorien is focused on protecting the general, i.e. protecting Aster, as he is the one loyalist in the royal part of the kingdom that followed Aster along on his journey, and he's managed to rally quite a band of people around Aster, which has solidified the prince's position, at least in terms of being safe in Azurite. Now, one thing that he hasn't lost is his temper. He was known as a great fighter, especially a great fighter when he got angry. He's someone who fought better with emotions, unlike Sorien, who always didn't like the lack of efficiency that emotions could cause. Sorien is able to channel his emotions really well and use them to be an absolute devastating force, which means once he takes 900 damage in a single round, he deals 350 extra damage on his initial 350 for the next 2 turns, which is an insane stat boost. So you don't really want to be hitting Sorien too hard on the battlefield. He will unleash his fury on you. So you want to be taking him down slowly, or you want to accept the fact that you are going to suffer 350 physical damage per turn and create a game plan to slow that down instead of maybe trying to murk him off of the planet. There's other ways, there's going to be other ways to remove cards, but yeah. Alright, so like Sorien, he is an amplification type, hence why they got along. It also, you know, magic systems and personalities, you know, nudge, nudge, wink, wink, they kind of link. His role in this is a frontline or a defender. I wouldn't really call him a berserker, but he does have that kind of energy to him. His affiliation is from Mistmere, even though he was stationed in the Azure Rock when everything was kicking off. And he wears plate armor. He's a relic of the old world, a brutal warrior, and a defender of Mistmere. Though the Tri-Wing has fallen, Sorien remains a bulwark against chaos, keeping his oath to protect those worthy of leading. Yes, I forgot to mention that he is also a Tri-Wing faithful, but he does not let that interfere with his work. It's a very interesting thing to be a Tri-Wing faithful and be from Mistmere, by the way. That doesn't happen as often as you think it would. Anyway, he's a veteran, not from Draco Rift, but a veteran who fought in the Battle of Draco Rift, where Muto and Solon Severian fought. Sorien witnessed the fall of kings and cities alike. That's just playing up the badass that Atreus is, the Dread Saint is in this world. He returned to Mistmere to hold the line alone. And when the rumors of Aster's return reached him, he pretty much went all the way to back to the Azure Rock after after just making sure Mistmere was good. After he heard, oh, there's trouble in the Azure capital, he returned to the capital to find a prince who had been thrown out of his seat and to find Isserin on the throne. He threw a tantrum, stormed out of Azurite, or at least the Azure Rock, which is the main capital, and he pursued after Cassius and Aster. Cassius was able to track down Sorien because Cassius is just a G and has managed to hide Aster for quite some time now. It's been around a year or two since these events have happened. And Sorien, like I said, has rallied some banners behind this cause for the Azure Prince and restoring him to the throne. So that's a little bit of a breakdown of 3 cards, the lore, and what they are meant to functionally do in the game. The 2 cards, of course, Sorien and Cassius, are legit built lore-wise and functionality card-wise. They are built to protect this card, but because they are all blue veil cards at the end of the day, I do see some people who are going to abuse these cards to protect other generals, which I am well aware of and I am very happy with, because again, no general will sweep like Aster once given the opportunity to do that. That will remain a staple until we find other generals which can do similar kinds of sweeps, but not the same thing. Alright guys, that's Blackblade. That's the video for today. I just wanted to show you guys 3 of the cards. Let me know how you're feeling about these 3 characters in the comments and this style of video as well. This is Loy signing off. Peace.